Debbie Hall, and I've been gardening here for the last 3 years. This will be our 3rd season. I have been trying to grow enough to do a reasonable amount of canning and that kind of thing. Today we're just looking at the peas. I just put up a trellis for the peas so that they'll be able to climb, and we'll train them to be able to go up so that they are able to have the sun and oxygen and room to produce properly. This is a Lincoln pea. It's a great one to grow because you can't really mess up with it. You can grow your plants close together and you're still going to get a good crop of peas. It does like cool weather. You're always best with the majority of peas growing them in very early spring, even as early as February. They say once you can work the ground that you can plant peas. The one thing you have to watch out with peas is that it's not too wet, because it'll just rot the seeds. Otherwise, you plant them in the ground. They go in about 1 inch, and you do have to watch because they do like to work their way towards the surface. So you've got to keep an eye that you do get them in deep enough so that they're not popping up. They're pretty easy to grow. There are some that are more of a bush kind, and so they'll grow, they'll produce, and then they're done. Whereas if you have the more of a climbing kind of pea, which this is, then you'll have a continuous supply of peas for quite a while, a good month at least of being able to pick, but you must be picking your peas on a regular basis to continue the growth, otherwise it'll want to stop and go to seed. When the peas are on, I pick them every day. They add nitrogen to the soil, so they actually improve the soil a bit. They can be planted by just about anything except for onions. They're not a good companion plant for onions, otherwise you can pretty much plant them near. They grow really well beside strawberries and cucumber, which I'll be growing as we get into the warmer season, and so they're a good companion for that. Now, they need about the same type of water in that, so that's always nice to think about, is how much water your vegetables require, and keeping those things in mind when you're planting. I'm a firm believer that as much compost as you can put onto your soil every year, even if you transplant. If you start a new crop of anything, it's a nice idea to add more compost. It adds more living organisms and will nourish the plants. If you saw yellowing, really slow growth, means that there's something either going on. Maybe there's too much water, there's not enough air getting to the roots, or just what's in the soil. These ones I actually planted in early March. I could have planted them as early as middle February, and I expect them to, they usually take just over a couple months. So now we're just into May, so they've been in the ground probably a good 6 weeks. I think if you're going to start off with a vegetable, peas are probably one of the easier ones to grow because they provide their own nitrogen into the soil, so they are pretty forgiving as far as the different types of soil you do put in. As long as you make sure you don't overwater if you have clay soil or underwater, especially at the beginning. When you're first growing peas, they need to be consistently watered to get them going properly, and then after that they're a little more forgiving.